Good evening and welcome to Tom Killner. Thanks for taking time to chat to us here at Metal Planet Music.
Hi, thanks for having us on.
You're most welcome. I think we first encountered you, would it have been at HRH in the little suburb of Rotherham at a blues
Oh,
festival?
it probably would have been Sheffield. It might have been the second, the smallest stage at HRH in Sheffield when that was happening there.
Yeah, I think about 2017.
Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah,
I think we've just done the live album or just about to do the live album or something like that.
yeah, that would
That's
have been about the time, wouldn't it? Because you
yeah,
had your first release, Hard Road, under your belt by then, of course. So
yeah.
yeah, and we've kind of followed you on and off since. What have you been up to?
Um, Playing really. I mean, since 2017, we came out with a new album. Well, the last album, should I say? Then global events got a bit weird and uh, kind of just stalled things a little bit.
Yeah, because I was talking to Preacher Stone, who we'll come on to in a moment, and like them, there was quite a gap between this hard from Get Back Up and your most recent album, Borrowed Time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I did an interview a few weeks back and said, "Oh, it's been over half a decade." I was like, "Well, when you put it like that, oh my God, yeah." It's been a long while since we've had the last uh, since we've had a new record. So hopefully, I'm not going to get in the habit of leaving it so long now.
No, I caught up with that album only this evening, I'm afraid. I don't know how it slipped us by, but it has until now. And my God, what a great album! It was worth that wait.
Oh, good. I'm glad it was worth the wait. I mean, there was some, it's sort of a direction change or uh, a build on what we've previously done, sort of, or a departure, whatever you want
Yeah, I
to call
mean,
it.
there's quite a lot of elements to the Southern Americana, but there's also a kind of a rootsy country.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely what I've been listening to for the last fair few years now. So obviously that influence is slipping into the writing. I basically I sort of feel like I've come home, as it was, sort of to my writing style. I feel very comfortable in that style, um, and I think it suits me well.
Yeah, it's definitely an album that's 10 tracks that there's varying. Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Facets, various perspectives to your songwriting styles.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it takes some writing is personal. Some is just pure outright fantasy storytelling.
Yeah,
Some's observation on everyday life. So it's a mixture of just whatever's there at the time of putting pen to paper and an idea springing into my head.
yeah. One standout track from myself personally is I think it's the fourth track in On the Other Side.
Yeah, I mean that's funny because you're going about it's been a while since we've done a record. That song's been knocking around since about 2015, since I did the
Wow.
first record.
Yeah,
And it's constantly been in the live set since then, to be fair. And it's always gone down really well with audiences. It's just a good time rock and roll song.
yeah. It's got that honky tonk element, and dare I say it, the 12-bar quo shuffle.
Yeah, it's sort of got that. Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I think there was, I think that was when I was getting into Blackberry Smoke, actually, when I
Yeah,
first
yeah.
heard Blackberry Smoke, and I was loving that sort of, in fact, even Crowes-esque, Black Crowes-esque
Yes,
sort of.
definitely. Yeah.
Um,
For me, it with that sort of country edge, it was kind of like a wild side of life sort of
yeah,
thing.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, well, sad life. I do believe it's in open G.
Oh,
So it's similar kind of thing happening there.
yeah. That obviously, as you know, was originally a country song that Quo 12 barred.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Um,
and it really kind of fits the very essence of Tom Killner.
yeah, I would say so. I mean, to be mentioning the cool reference there. I mean, I grew up on Status Quo records, um, and I've got a real soft spot for the Quo. I think they're brilliant band, no matter what anybody says.
Oh, absolutely.
The
We saw
Quo on
them.
their shows, having a good time.
Yeah, we saw them just a couple of nights ago in Swansea, and they blew the roof.
Yeah. I've seen that they're on tour again, or what's remaining of the band. I mean, one of my first shows that I went to see at the Sheffield Arena was Status Quo. Uh, so that it's a fair while back. I think I was about 7 at the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a quote, just quintessential. But getting back to the album Borrowed Time, you certainly got plenty of time ahead of you. I mean, you're starting with the southern roots of Stomp of Cosmic Sound. That's a really good way to get going.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was unexpected that that track was going to start was the first single, and it happened to be the first track on the record. It was it was one of those that it's just straight in. There's no messing around. Um, you just straight into the record with that little blast.
Yeah,
Um,
it's certainly elements of it remind me a bit of Robert John and the Wreck, with a bit, excuse me, these Wicked Rivers chucked in for good measure.
yeah, I mean those bands, both of those bands, I listen to, and that is on my rotation of listening material quite a lot. Um, Robert John and the Red, really cool band.
Yeah,
But that's sort of the style that seems to be picking up quite quickly at the minute in this country. Um,
definitely. I mean, it's definitely a burgeoning scene, isn't it? You know, you're
yeah, I
one
would say
of
so.
a number of sort of guitarists like Chris Barris, Lawrence Jones, to name just a couple, that are taking the blues in very different, directions from the core nucleus of the sound.
Yeah, I mean, thing is, if you think back to blues artists from, I mean, it goes back to the early 20th century. I mean, that it's going to develop. I mean, you've got um, guys like Muddy Waters that electrified it, or
Yeah,
and you would say, oh, those guys have took it in a different direction. So it's just a continuation of where a genre it's firmly rooted in that, but you've got to do it your own way. Otherwise, you sort of peddling the same,
yeah.
and you, to do it, you've just got to bring it to new audiences and sort of try and expand it to the next generation.
Where do you see your sound developing in the coming years?
That's a good question. Honestly, wherever I feel like I need to go, to be fair. If all of a sudden I have a total genre change, then so be it. But I think at the moment that where this record's gone, I think building on that and into, I wouldn't say I want to get stuck in a certain style as such, because that sort of limits your creativity sometimes,
Yeah,
when you feel like you've got to play to that. Um, but I think just a continued development on where I think I've always been headed, which is sort of the southern style Americana feel to the music that we play.
definitely. I mean, you explore the album deeper, and there's touches of Dylan, Petty, as well as the classic sort of Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Yeah, I mean all of those artists that you've mentioned. I mean Tom Petty for one. I never, when I was learning guitar, I mean a fair few years ago now, I never got into Tom Petty. I was like, oh, I'm not keen on this. But in the last 5-7 years, Tom Petty has been one of the biggest influences, I would say, on me. Wildflowers, that he did with Rick Rubin, one of my favourite records. And that's been on constant repeat. I mean, I've got guys like JJ Cale, which
Yeah,
I think is a very underrated artist. I know Clapton did a fair bit with JJ Cale songs, but apart from that, there's not a lot of people that seem to mention him. Bob Dylan, that was another one that I grew up listening to, and so that sort of that songwriting element of things is where I've, rather than me just predominantly a guitarist, I wanted to be a good singer and a good songwriter to match it.
you definitely got to have that craft, and it's, the album's obviously a testament to all your influences, but I think ultimately, to coin a phrase I use quite a bit, you're going to be you're the first Tom Killner.
I hope so, because I wouldn't say that I try and copy anybody.
No, no.
It is because yeah, I've never gone and said, oh, I want to be this. Apart from when I was like younger, when I was really just starting out, I was like, Rory Gallagher was my idol. I was like, I
Yeah,
want to be just like that. So, but you sort of grow up, sort of, I think, and I was like, there's plenty of other people that do them, so I've just got to be myself.
absolutely. And it's you that the audience are seemingly falling in love with. I mean, I think it's recently you just blew the stage up at Call of the Wild.
Yeah, I mean that was a great show. I mean, not forgetting the band, to be fair, because without those guys, that we don't have a backbeat and we don't have a sort of uh, the muscle to the skeleton
Yeah, sure.
as it was. I mean, those guys, Rich, Kevin, Wes, and Andy, just bring something to the band that I really love, and that's their work as well. But yeah, Call of the Wild was a great festival. Oh, I've always enjoyed playing Call of the Wild. It was absolutely chucking it down before we went on. We were like, oh no, is this going to get sort of postponed or even
Yeah.
worse, getting pulled because the downpour was absolutely just nuts. Thunder and lightning to go with it, and I was like, do not go on the stage.
Oh, blimey. But yeah, I mean, you've got a few dates coming up, and the summer's starting to fill up the schedule, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we've got the Preacher Stone dates coming up. They're coming over for some dates with Sons of Liberty, and I've managed to get myself on the bill with Preacher Stone, which is really cool because they're really great set of guys. Can't wait to play those shows with them.
Yeah, I mean, you've got 3 dates in mid-July:
Yeah,
Bristol, the Louisiana, Crumlin, the Patriot, and I think, is it the Feathers in
yeah,
Litchfield?
the Feathers in Litchfield, yeah, which all of those venues I've never played before, so I'm really looking forward to doing those. It's new area for us, so yeah, just generally looking forward to making new friends.
Sweet. And the festivals are continuing to line up for you as well.
Yeah, we've got SOS Festival. We've got Rock Witch coming up. Another one, the New Wave of Classic Rock. That's happening in, can't remember which month, but that is coming up.
End of September, I believe.
Right, so there we go.
Yeah.
Your information is probably more reliable than my memory.
quick bit of
Um,
research. And Whitby Blues in November.
yeah, we've got Whitby and we've got Lou as well down in, I think it's called, yeah, Cornwall.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah. That would be with Steve Stanley, wouldn't it? Solid
Yeah, that's with
Entertainment.
Solid Entertainment's that one.
Yeah.
We've got we're planning dates for November to do a run of shows in November, and then we start again again in the new year, and the cycle continues.
Indeed, indeed. It's exciting times. Are you looking to pen more tracks for a future release?
Um, well, it's a constant cycle of writing. I mean, writing for me, it happens when it happens. There's some tracks that I've got in the works, so all being well, it won't take as many years this time to get those recorded, but I am starting to get things together for another record, I think.
That's exciting news, exciting stuff. And on the album, you had some interesting guests complimenting the strong arm of your band.
Yeah, I mean, we had Ollie Brown from the Dead Collective. In fact, to be fair, we had the full Dead Collective uh, ensemble working on the record because Wayne Proctor produced and engineered and mixed
Yep.
The record. We had Sam Wood that was playing pedal steel, so a bit of a departure from his Les Pauls when he's in Wayward
Yeah,
Sons
for sure.
and Dead Collectives. Yeah, so we had Sam playing pedal steel, which was really cool, and Ollie that did the backing vocals.
And there was also a young lady by the name of Kia.
Yeah, Kia, which I worked with Kia in her band. Fantastic songwriter, phenomenal songwriter actually. Really don't know how she does it on such a regular basis, pulling good songs out, but great lyricist and fantastic singer too. So
yeah, great voice.
she did some writing with us for this record. I think she's doing some writing with us for the next record too. But and we also had a friend of mine, Anthony Croft, on fiddle as well, which we've never had fiddle on a record before.
Nice.
And that was a nice touch as well.
Yeah, which it expands an already good sound.
Yeah, it does. It was. I mean, to be fair, the origins of this record was during the COVID years when we first started with all that fun and games.
Yeah.
And it was originally going to be an acoustic singer-songwriter album, and that sort of changed quite quickly. To be fair,
yeah, I mean, it expanded quite a bit by the sound of it.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, oh, let's have some drums on this, percussion on this, and then let's have some bass on this, and then oh, we've got keys. So we have actually got a version of the record recorded with a majority of the tracks that are sort of totally different versions. And that ended up sort of being like the demo stage for working on when we finally did re-record it, which was about a year to.
I mean, it'd be quite interesting to hear that. Maybe expand the release into a limited edition for next year.
Maybe if people want to hear that, and but yeah, so there is a totally different version out there. So we might release the demos.
Yeah, man, go for it. I for one genuinely would love to. I'll tell you the reason why. Because going back to the quote, a lot of their songs were written on acoustic, as you're probably aware, in that demo stage, early songwriting. And Bob Young, the then manager back in the 70s, he released an album in Quo Country, and it's all acoustic.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah, it's just a totally different feel. And I mean, I like that sort of thing where you get to see where it came from. So, yeah, it might be an option at some point.
Yeah, I reckon so. I reckon it's a goer. We'll have to talk to Uncle Wes and see how we get that PR wrapped up, eh?
we'll get one thing out of the way first.
Yeah, absolutely. And I understand you've got a short run of acoustic solos around.
Yeah, we're doing. I'm doing some things out and about. That I really enjoy doing the stripped back acoustic shows now and again.
Nice,
Um,
nice. Keeps
it, it,
does is it the sort of thing that keeps you in touch with why you write and how you write?
yeah, I would say so. I feel really quite comfortable. I'm comfortable and also quite exposed at the same time when I'm doing a acoustic show because there's nowhere to hide. So, um, but I really enjoy doing the versions of the songs. Uh, Probably how I originally intended them to be, or how the first ideas sprouted, and it's just a variation on the music that we do as a band.
Sweet. One last question for you. The album, going back to the album Borrowed Time, give us your favourite track.
I would say it's there's two. I'm going to give you two songs
Go on then, Tom. Go on.
because there's two that's quite different. One is a song called Only You, which
Yeah,
it's an acoustic sort of country track.
definitely.
Um,
Really chilled, nice, relaxed vibe.
yeah, yeah, and I love the story of that one. It's a little love story basically. But that's sort of something quite removed from what we did on the last record, and it's just a different feel. Um, and I really do like that song. And the other one's one that wasn't actually sort of planned to be on the record. We sort of did this like a week before we recorded this song, and it's a song called No More. Now, originally it was meant to sort of be a ballad, and it just wasn't working. And oh, it, Rich, the drummer, was, oh, let's try it this way, and we turned it into what it became. And then it was like, I really love that song. Um, that's that's my second favorite on the record.
Yeah, it's definitely that one's got a sort of haunting edge to it.
Yeah, yeah. It's I mean, it's to be fair, it's sort of two bookends. This Only You and No More, because it's sort of a love song, and then it's one about a relationship gone bad. So
Yeah,
it's sort of
it's
yeah,
life, isn't it?
contrasting. Yeah, it's like that light and shade
Yeah,
and and things. And yeah, that turned into the being one of my favorite, and it's one of the favorites to play live as well.
nice, nice. Tom, we look forward to catching you real soon somewhere on the road. Thank you for taking time out of your evening to chat to us here,
Oh, thank you for having us.
and we will see you soon. Cheers, buddy.
Thank you very much, buddy.